The first notable gaming event of the year takes place later this week with the Xbox Developer Direct event on the 23rd, in fact, and they are slated to show off 4 major titles. And it's very interesting because after a relatively light first-party offering in 2024, Xbox and PlayStation as well are going to be following a similar trajectory, but I haven't seen any announcements going on over on the Sony side of life. But when it comes to Xbox, well, they've got some ground to make up for sure, but they did something a little bit different to Sony because whenever they made announcements last year, they were generally well received. Like their summer games showing was very good. Okay. Some of their other announcements closer to the end of the year were generally well received. Just a shame about them closing a bunch of studios, but I'm sure we'll get to that in short order, right? But Microsoft has announced that 4 games will be at the Xbox Developer Direct. However, the team has only confirmed what 3 of those games are. Claire Obscura, Expedition 33, Doom the Dark Ages. Okay, good. That's one that people are looking forward to. And of course, South of Midnight, which have fun with a bomb on that one. But the 4th game, it was rumored, and we talked about this before, a big surprise from a Developer Direct is reportedly a legendary Japanese IP. Now, it's something apparently in home from Xbox, and I've heard some people conflate that maybe, Capcom's coming over and they're going to be announcing something. It's like, Capcom, I don't recall them having like a super strong relationship with Xbox, but maybe they're reaching out in that direction, trying to do something. I have no idea, man. If it's anything that's going to be under their roof from a legendary Japanese IP, I mean, they own Team Ninja, rather. Or is it Ninja Theory? I don't remember that, but Ninja Gaiden, that does seem fairly likely because everything outside of that shut down your only major Japanese studio at the beginning of last year, so not really flush with ideas of what it could be, but all of those games, I'm pretty sure they're all coming out this year at some point in time. South of Midnight, I think, has like a end of spring release. Doom the Dark Ages, I know they said 2025, and I have no idea what Claire Obscura Expedition 33 is all about, but it's interesting, right? Because there's a major first-party Xbox title coming out in very, very short order that you think that they would be trying to hype up, and maybe there will be a trailer for Avowed. Maybe they will try to salvage and try to garner up any goodwill, because as it sits right now, the game it's not really doing gangbusters. Like, you take a look at the sales chart, and, well, there are several other games that are very much on the horizon, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth being one of them, but Civ 7, that's right up there when it comes to pre-sales and pre-orders. Monster Hunter Wilds, killing it right now, good for them. But Avowed, it's very much lagging far behind, but that could just be on Steam because it's going to be a Game Pass game, and I don't know, maybe the very high delta for a game that doesn't look all that interesting, and then we know a staggering little about, and it's raising a bunch of concerns. Quite a few concerns, in fact, because as you can see, recent events and announcements, like, this shit has not been updated in a very, very, very long time. One update, November 14th, when they put everything live, but hey, you can plop down $120 to get the game 5 days early, or you could just get the standard edition for $90, or you could just be over there on Game Pass so you can play something that looks like a broke-ass version of Skyrim. The guys that brought you, or at least the studio. You can't really say the guys because, most of that studio is completely gutted, and it's basically being worn as a skin suit. But Obsidian Entertainment that brought you Knights of the Old Republic 2, Fallout New Vegas, and then also Pillars of Eternity. The studio that did that, not exactly any of the developers, they have long since departed, but hey, get excited for Avowed because we have an art director who very much hates gamers and has gone on a full crusade, and he's been offering the most insight as to what to expect moving forward. But you can get the weird and wonderful Living Lands, visceral combat to play your way, companions as part of your you get companions in an RPG? Oh, that's fantastic stuff. Very revolutionary. But for the shit that we see, your recommended specs are an RTX 3080. I mean, bro, I'm not exactly blown away by the shit that I see right there. I mean, some of it looks fine, but the particle effects, and that's something else that we were talking about. I think it was in the Shadows video, but the fact that, that was a rough looking bridge, if we're being completely honest. Like, what the hell are we doing out here, man? This shit does not at all look like this. this looks like it could have functioned. Okay, there it is right there. Like the textures on that, that's tragic, okay? This could have been a launch PS4 title and nobody would have noticed. Or I'm sorry, a launch Xbox One title back when they still required always online and the Kinect was integral to the game, or integral to the system, right? It just couldn't function without it. But taking a look underneath the hood in regards to Avowed, because Obsidian has been very scant with details, people are wondering, what's happening? Is this gonna get delayed because nobody's pre-ordering it and all the buzz around this has been absolutely sucked out of the room by a cuck who wants developers of color to come around and take his job from him? But Avowed entire community section on Steam has been nuked. You literally can't get in. They nuked all discussions. And yeah, going back to the Steam page, and maybe this is because, you know, I have this on the browser, I don't have it on the app pulled up or anything like that, but yeah, when it comes to any other information, view discussions, that's very interesting. It's very interesting what's going on there. That doesn't really necessarily mean much, but then you take a look at some change logs, and the last time we looked at this stuff was prior to the announcement that Concord was going to get shut down. So could be something, it could be nothing. Okay, Avowed will probably be delayed according to some Steam changes. Removed advanced access starts February 13th. Oh, but they're still pitching that right now. App was hidden to the public. SteamDB no longer has access to Avowed. Oh, that's really not good. That's really not good at all. But as you can see, Avowed mysteriously disappears from Steam player libraries. Oh, that's a big story right there. Avowed has mysteriously disappeared from libraries of several players who own the game on Steam, and fans are worried that this may indicate a possible delay. In another ominous development, Avowed's Steam community hub has also gone dark. Avowed has been one of 2025's most anticipated titles, well, prior to a certain revelation, but yeah, of course, and it's prepped to be one of the year's first major releases. I'm sure it will be, just like how Indiana Jones and the Great Circle was a major release and everybody stopped talking about it 10 minutes later. The game was earlier penciled in for a fall 2024 release, but was delayed until February of 2025 after the developers stated that they wanted more time to polish Avowed, to find new and interesting ways to put pronouns into everything, because that's what's going to end up being the trick. And the balance, a number of releases on Xbox Game Pass. However, fans are growing concerned about another possible delay on the horizon. In a Reddit post, okay, user Gez, whatever, shared that the game is no longer visible in the Steam library, and several other users have corroborated the issue. Despite missing from their libraries, Avowed's Steam store page shows that they indeed own the game. So far, the issue only appears to affect Steam users, as players who purchased it on Xbox are still able to see Avowed in their collection. Just a few days to go before Avowed's release, fans are understandably getting paranoid of a delay. And yeah, no big push from Xbox, no marketing help on that one. Obsidian hasn't been shipping around their developers to go ahead and, you know, do promotion for this stuff. We haven't heard word one from this after Matt Hansen's giant meltdown a month or so back. And then that's leading people to speculate, because it's one thing for a game to have, you know, preferred pronouns, for you to go ahead and select whatever your character identifies as, but it's another to just have boring ass pathetic companions. When it comes to games like this, like I reference it all the time, one of my most hated games, if not my most hated game, Mass Effect Andromeda. It was a game that could have been good. It ultimately wasn't. It failed on multiple fronts, but the companions, that was the straw that broke the camel's back for me. Like, the gameplay was already AIDS, but if it was just leading to something fun, all right, we can go ahead and do that. And the moment that I stopped the game, and it's one of the few that I couldn't even be bothered to push all the way through, even if I detested a game like Final Fantasy 12. I could at least, you know, appreciate the story of Bosch. That was something that was there, but I was holding out for, in talking about Andromeda here, for the cat guy to at least be something cool. And then when I heard him talk and he had a lisp, it was like, yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and wander around the jungle here real quick and never return to this game. But in comparing Avowed to Baldur's Gate 3 that came out in 2023, a game that is still getting a consistent audience playing it, okay? It's because it managed to marry together just about everything that would be desirable in the modern gaming landscape, right? Like, you got a diverse cast of characters, you've got the gay characters, you've got the trans characters, you've got everything that would normally check the woke boxes. But why does everybody enjoy that? Oh, it's because it's well implemented. It's not, oh, we have gay characters. No, it's we have characters that happen to be gay. In Avowed, from the promotional material that we've seen from the people that have had hands-on with the game, we haven't heard anything outside of, yeah, there's Black Lady, there's Dwarf, there's Pixie, there's Girl Boss, there's enemies, there's a bear. See, like, we know we've heard about the bear before. You guys like bears, right? Baldur's Gate 3, you got bears, and we got vistas. See, does that remind you of anything? Reminds you of better games that we used to make back in the cut? And see, oh, look at that. We got mushrooms and stuff, because that's going to be important, I guess. It's interesting, right? It's very interesting how this game is coming out, okay? And according to, also from the game's tags, it's been out for quite a while, but we know a shockingly scant amount of information about this game. And it's 3 weeks away from release, and there's a very few updates. So it's going to be interesting to see what ultimately happens. And I think this is going to be another one of those games that's just going to come and go, and the full extent of its failure is ultimately going to be masked by Game Pass. But if other reports are honest enough to believe, the failure of Game Pass is something that Microsoft is going to have to confront in the very near future. That, of course, is another story for another time, and at this point, I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.